What's going on, y'all? Hope all is well. Another episode of Convos with the CFP Mario Payne in beautiful Athens, Greece. So, yes, we've been in Greece now for a few days, enjoying the warm weather. A lot of tourists, not as much as they say in July and August. So, they say from a tourist standpoint, it gets a lot worse in July, it gets a lot worse in August. So, we will brave through it. Have one more day in Athens, then we go to Mykonos to enjoy the seaside, and then Santorini to enjoy the private island. And definitely went to the Olympic Stadium and got my olive branch, I guess. So that was pretty cool from a historical standpoint. Also, which is pretty cool, is the cost here, right? So we know in America, inflation is a lot lower than what it was this time last year. But here in Athens, even though it's the biggest city in Greece, now, of course, from a country standpoint, they're not the biggest economically. They're not like Germany. They're not like Italy. They're not like some of the other, like Spain, for instance. So they're not as big as some of the other European countries, but they are pretty big. Now, the economy of Florida and California and Texas has a bigger economy than Greece. So that kind of puts some context on how great America is from an economic standpoint. We went to get some food today. Great spot. Definitely check out my Instagram, Painful Profits. So Painful Profits, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Did a lot of videos just kind of going through the city, talking to individuals, going to different restaurants, seeing what actually multinational companies have stocks and kind of how the European economy uses those multinational companies, and from an investment standpoint, how that can help. But today, I'm going to kind of show you this. Now, you probably can't see it all, but you can see here the cost was $42.10 euros. Now, 42.10. So for every $100 in American, it's 110 euro, right? So for every dollar that we spend, it basically costs $1.10. So basically, spending $42 in euros is basically about 46, 47 American dollars. We'll round up and say 50 American dollars. But you want to know what we received. Now, again, it's all in Greek, right? So so we just can't get it completely, but we got skewers. We got chicken skewers. We got 5 of those, right? Because they was amazing, by the way. We got some hummus. My wife loves hummus. We got fries. We got 2 loaves of pita bread. Had to get the wine, right? Had to get the rosé. My wife got white wine. And then again, to top it off, we got some gelato. And on top of that, got a quinoa salad. So a quinoa salad, that's your appetizer, right? Gelato for dessert. We got skewers. We got fries as well. So we got all that. Now, you would think all that would be $100, $120, $125. And where we're at from an Athens standpoint, it's not Beverly Hills now, but it's like the quote unquote Beverly Hills of Athens, right? It's a more affluent place compared to a more middle class place. Nothing's wrong with that, of course. Nothing's wrong, right? But just from a budget standpoint, because it is quote unquote off season compared to July or August, where we're at is definitely a nice area town. So you would think being a nice area town, there'd be some cachet involved, right? Not so much. So it made me think in America from an inflation standpoint. Why is inflation so bad in America? And as investors, how we can actually profit, make some painful profits off of inflation. Let's look at this. Well, as we look at this chart, this is basically inflation historically, right? So from 1960 to 2020, 23. And this covers over 200 countries. So all the developed countries that we have on the globe, right? We can see here from a year standpoint, inflation, right? And look at that, inflation's ticking up. We see there it's ticking up, it's ticking up. It got its highest in 1980. Global inflation was at 13.5%, which means for every $100 in bills, now those bills are $113.55, right? Went up by 2.29%. Checking and savings accounts wasn't 0.51%. They was like 8, 9%. Now your mortgage may have been like 20%. Could you imagine having a 20% mortgage? Right, you buy a $100,000 property and you got to pay $20,000 of interest every single year. Not fun, right? The IRS would not like that either because all those expenses from an interest rate standpoint, you get to write that off. If it's your primary house, that's why you talk to a certified financial planner like myself or a CPA to kind of go over that in detail. But man, just think about 20% inflation. Oh, not good. But it went down. It went down, right? Went down some more in the 90s, as you can see. And then, of course, 2008, boom, it was actually negative, right? First time this ever happened where, your bills were $100 and then the next year those same bills were less than $100, right? So that was a 4.19%. And now, as you can see, we're creeping back up again. Global inflation is 4.7%. Now, here in the US, our inflation is 4.1. So $100 last year is now $104. Now we know, especially early in the year and late last year, gas, a carton of eggs, those things was way more expensive. So it is going down. But from a hyperinflation standpoint, it goes to show that here in America, our inflation is getting lower. Worldwide, inflation is actually getting higher. But from a cost standpoint, they're able to keep their costs down where they can have you basically get a meal in the US, in a swanky place in the US, that's probably going to cost $200, $250, only cost you less than 50 bucks, American bucks, or 42 euros. So from an investment standpoint, how can we profit off of that? World profiteers, we know inflation is here. It goes up, it goes down, but the cost of things go up over time. So as investors, we can take advantage by just investing. As easy as that sounds, right? We don't need to get a master class. We don't need to do all this crazy stuff. Just invest. And we invest, we want to talk about DCA. I talk about it all the time, but as a certified financial planner, I'm trying to give you information, right? DCA is dollar cost averaging, meaning during the good days, the bad days, the good months, the bad months, we're always putting money into the market. When inflation was out of control, right, the market was probably going down, theoretically speaking. Historically, when the inflation goes up, the market goes down. Imagine if we was able to invest consistently in things that are going down. We buy at a lower price, so then when inflation goes down, the market goes back up, we're making money. So since 1960, since 1960, during the good times and bad times of inflation, we're still investing money. By investing money during the good times and bad times, you would think over time you would have gotten to the bag. And this is the bag we're talking about. So look at this chart right here. From February 2020 to April 2023, the market went up by 465%. We kind of scroll down to where we're now, basically 400% we're round down. Would you be happy or upset over a 23-year time period to have a return of 423%? Would we be happy to get an 18% return on your money every single year? Pretty happy. That means for every $100 invested, I'm making $18 a year when inflation historically is about 4 or 5% worldwide. So even though the cost here in Greece is a lot less than here in America, right? A swanky place that would have cost $150, $200, $250 in the US, cost basically $50 from American dollar standpoint, $42 for euro. We're able to maximize our profits, make money off of dollar cost averaging. So this, my friends, is why long-term investing is important. We may have good years and bad years, right? Inflation might go up like crazy. It might go down. Even when inflation was up by 13%, on average, if you made 18% a year in the stock market, you're still pretty. Now, we're not happy inflation is up, but if I make $18, my cost of living goes up by $13, we're still pocketing $5. And now why inflation is a lot lower, now it's still high, but not as high as 13%. So my Greek lesson for today, even though inflation is higher historically than it usually is, inflation is lower than what it was this time last year. My Greek friends in a place called Kalimaki, shouts out to Kalimaki Bar. Definitely good eating. As you see my, ooh, look at that. Man, this was delicious. This chicken skewer was delicious, but shouts out to them. Also, shouts out to the bill only being 42 euro, which is basically 50 American dollars. But as inflation goes up, or down, dollar cost averaging. Every single month, put the same amount of money into the market. Over time, you'll be good. Hope that helps. Great times in Athens. We'll continue over the next week and a half enjoying ourselves in Greece. As always, long-term investing is the wave. Let's make some painful profits together, y'all. Peace.
And you just wanna get paid, tired of making the money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late, yeah. Painful profits to help you seek change, and you just wanna get paid, yeah. Tired of making no money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late, painful profits to help you seek change, yeah. Cut the show and just listen. You wanna feel empowered by making money decisions. Residual by the hours can get you a better living. Bitch at the check, you know, and it could be different, you know.